the My Journey podcast with me, Matt Johnson, and back on the mic is Tom Scott. How are you?
I'm alright, Matt. Yeah, I'm alright. Good to be back, actually.
Yeah, good. It was odd not being here last time.
Yeah, it was a bit different. Yeah, I was trying to listen back to it, and it felt a bit strange just not been around.
Yeah, it was hard. It was the first time I'd done a solo one.
Yeah.
So yeah,
How'd you find that?
it was tough.
Yeah.
When I started it, I was like, I'll be back in the room in like 10 minutes because I did not think I had anything to talk about, and then finished it and I was like, oh, 50 minutes worth of content.
So I can actually talk to myself for quite a long time, yeah.
Yeah, if anything, that means I'm probably better at speaking to myself than I am other people, which is a bit worrying.
Yeah, that's quite concerning, really. So you've been busy today, haven't you?
Yeah, so today, been over in Leeds with two other freelancers with the thing that we run called Creative Point. We've been running some workshops for a co-working space over there on the topics of copywriting, hashtagging and podcasting. Surprise, surprise, I ran this podcasting workshop.
I was going to say, I did see a little something of you up there. Yeah. If I'm right in thinking, did someone start a podcast there?
Yeah, so there was a guy in the room who, he didn't start a podcast, he already had a podcast.
Right.
But we made an episode in the room about Creative Point and the podcasting session that we're doing. Cool. Yeah, it was only a short one. It was shorter than this, probably about 8 minutes long. But it was quite interesting to do. It was just like, should we make an episode now? I was like, yeah.
Oh, so you just did it like on the spot?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
He was shown as a piece of software that he's created. And it's similar to Anchor, which I use, but a bit different. So basically he recorded a bit and then we recorded the answer, then he recorded a bit, then we recorded the answer. So we were like passing the mic almost. But yeah, we're like, each piece was a new piece.
Okay.
And it then transcribes that like instantly for you.
Wow.
So it was interesting. I don't think it would work for this because this is too like conversational.
Yeah.
But if you're doing like a set interview kind of thing, I think, or something on your own, it would work really well.
Cool.
But yeah, so we just took that over because we'd run the same workshops here last summer for Creative Point, which is like a series of events that we run here in Hull.
Yeah.
But where we're based in Hull is what they call an Eagle Lab, which is something run by Barclays, and they've got them all across the country. And because of the success in Hull, they asked us if we could take it to Leeds and try and build Creative Point in Leeds. This was just like a test event, and then we'll probably get our heads together in the next few weeks and see if it's something we want to do.
Okay. So is it up to you to decide if you want to carry on doing it there, or was there someone there kind of seeing how it was running? And
yeah, so they weren't in all day, but they were in the building,
yeah,
but they were doing their job most of the day. So it's ultimately up to them, but also up to us as well. It's like a two-way thing. Okay. But they seemed keen. They said at the end, we'd love to have you back. I think we just need to look at how it works for us in terms of, we're obviously travelling over there. There's 3 of us, and the events take quite a lot of time to build. Yeah. So we've got to just work out whether it's worth our time, I think. But yeah.
So much of the event stays this. So it's a different event every time.
Yeah. So the basic idea behind Creative Point is there's 3 elements: learn, inspire, and inform. Learn are workshops like we did today. Yep. So they're free. They're aimed at small business owners. Try and teach them skills and very basic ways to create content. Inspire is we try and get someone who's had like a marketing career or done some really cool projects, and we get them in to talk about their career and inspire people. They'll be working on bigger budgets than anyone's ever thought about, hopefully. And then the inform sessions are more like a lecture. So we'll pick someone who is like a specialist at a topic, and they'll come and deliver a lecture style talk on a specific topic. So yeah, the workshops so far, the learn workshops have been like small groups, 20 maximum, in like a boardroom kind of environment. And then the other 2 inspire and inform are like in a theatre, like 50 people, pizzas, drinks, that kind of thing. Okay. So it's a bit more like you are literally sitting in an event and just taking in stuff. Yeah. But yeah, we've got another one coming up in Hull in the next couple of weeks, which is all about community building. And that's different again. So it's a learn session, but it's down in a theatre at C4DI where we're based. But it's a panel. So we're going to have 3 people who have all either build communities or have used communities to help grow their business.
Okay.
And we're going to interview them on how they've done that and how it works, and then hopefully the audience can get a bit more involved with Q&A rather than just someone presenting at them for however long.
So is that just open for anyone?
Yeah, it's open for anyone. If you search Creative Point on Twitter or Instagram, we'll come up and the details will be on there, and it'll be £5 for a ticket. Oh no, in fact, actually, this one is free. We're doing this next session as a free one because it's a learn one.
Yeah.
But normally they're £5 for the bigger events because we put on pizzas and stuff like that. But this one we've decided to do for free.
Okay.
So that should be good.
That sounds good. So we've talked about the whole Creative Point side of things, but that's not just what you do, is it? There's plenty of us. You're always bombarding your social media constantly. What else you got coming up?
So in the future, I've got a really cool event coming up. Again, back in Leeds through the connections at the Eagle Labs. I'm delivering a social media strategy workshop for people over there. And it's like it's something I've been offering in my business for a while, but I've not really pulled it together as a set package. It's just been like, if you're interested, I can do this, but I've not pulled it together as a package, social media strategy. And I'm doing like a workshop there to try and like a business generation tool for myself. So like we'll do a basic strategy with people in the room over 3 hours, and then hopefully if they're interested they might get in contact with me about further work, but if not, they've got a strategy that they can actually implement from the day. And then C4DI, where I'm based, they do sessions called Lunch and Learns. So members of the community will put on a session over lunch and they'll talk about a topic and plug their services a little bit at the end, but just try and inform people about a certain area. So recently there was a guy who does like business mentoring. He spoke about like some top tips for like business strategy. So I'm doing one there about personal branding and social media for professionals, because we've got quite a few connections, like people in tech companies and stuff like that. So it's like within a professional environment, how do you personal brand? And then looking quite a bit further ahead, there's the Northern Podcast Festival, which I'm involved in. I'll be delivering a session there, which is the same one I did today. How to start a podcast with nothing in the bank.
Because it's a few times you've done that one now.
Yeah, so that'll be the third time I've done it. And I've spoken on that topic quite a few times because people are quite interested. And I normally do it for free because it seems a bit odd to charge when I'm saying how to start one for free.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
So,
start one for free, but it's going to cost you 30 quid for an hour. Me telling you how to do it.
So like, although I do it as a session, I'm not concerned about like giving that information away outside the session, because no one's ever going to pay me for that information.
No, that makes sense.
Whereas like the strategy stuff, the Eagle Lab in Leeds are paying me to go across and do that. Otherwise I charge for the ticket because it's valuable information that people are getting. So I'm also, hopefully I've just applied to be part of Humber Business Week.
Okay.
It's a week-long activity in the Humber region. And I'll hopefully be doing that same session again as part of that at C4DI.
Right.
And again, that you have to pay to, I will have to pay to be part of their programme. But through the Barclays thing, they've said they'll cover that cost for me, like almost sponsor the event and cover it. But it's quite an interesting thing, is speaking, because the reason I started picking it up this year, like, I don't mind speaking.
I was going to say, how do you find doing it?
Yeah, I don't mind it. I was head boy at secondary and sixth form, so I had to stand up and speak there. I wouldn't enjoy it, but I would do it. Whereas now I kind of don't mind getting up. Like today, I prepped my presentation. Like I went through it and checked it was all right and stuff, and I look over it. I didn't practice in terms of like trying to get my words right or anything. I just stood up and delivered it. And then the stuff with like Humber Business Week, like potentially you could have some decent businesses in the room. That might be a bit more nerve-wracking because you're actually like talking to quite high up people. But the whole idea behind it is that you generate business out of it. So, and at the end of the day, my business, I'm talking about what I do for a business. So I've got to be confident, because if you don't come across as confident, people are going to go, well, why would I ever buy from you?
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're not confident.
But once you know like the ins and outs of what you're saying as well, it makes it so much easier just for, you don't really get tripped up anywhere. Because you either have answers prepared if something's going to get asked, or even if you don't go exactly how to plan you want it, you can pick up pretty much from anywhere because you know the content in and out.
Yeah, so like I kind of relate to, like, people think it's quite scary standing up and talking about a specific topic, but I reckon, like, you work within an office space, there's probably times where, like, you have team meetings and you say something at a team meeting or that kind of thing, and, like, people might not be as scared of that because it happens every week. Well, if you're doing speaking events on a weekly basis or a monthly basis, you get used to it.
It's the same, yeah.
Yeah, the first time you have to stand up and lead a team meeting, it's scary, but once you're used to it, and, like, there was some really good questions, not tricky questions, but good questions for the other two presenters today. But they knew the stuff, and it was, I wouldn't say like they just batted out the park, because they didn't need batting out the park. It just, like, they just answered honestly and just said what they thought. They didn't, like, try and say what they needed to say.
Yeah.
They just said what they thought, which is right, because they know what they're talking about.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Like, this is where people, like, I think get over worried, is like, oh God, what about if I say the wrong thing? If I was stood up talking about, I don't know, the laws around driving, like, I would probably say the wrong thing because I don't know it.
Yeah.
But I know social media marketing, I know personal branding. I'll only ever speak at the level I know. I'm not going to go and stand up in front of Facebook and speak to them about how to use Facebook. I'm not an idiot, but the kind of level of businesses that I'm pitching, I should know more than them, and I do. So that's why I'm confident in what I'm doing. There is that nerves of actually the physical standing up and speaking.
Yeah.
But I don't mind them. I quite enjoy it.
Yeah. No, I've never been able to do that.
Yeah.
No, I can't present for anything. I definitely feel like, especially the past few summers been away, like camp where you're basically just thrown in to do the most embarrassing things at any point in time. I normally feel like when I come back off that, I'm on a confidence high for a few months. But then, just as you were saying, like the more you do it, it's like the less you're around it, it then just seeps back away.
So, got two questions for you. Do you want to be able to do it, and do you get the opportunities to do it?
I probably do get a fair amount of opportunities to do it. I just normally back away from them. I think it's more just personality based on that one of, if I can not be the centre of attention, I will always try and not be the centre of attention. Wanting to do it, I'm not really sure, just because majority of the times it still gives me a fright thinking about doing it. So
I suppose, like, as well, like, I had a bit of a fire in my belly in the fact that I wanted to be able to do it. Like, I wanted to be able to stand up and speak. So, like, I kind of pushed myself that little bit more. Like, when an opportunity did come up, I didn't wait to be forced. I kind of forced myself a little bit. Yeah. And I think that helps a lot. But also, like, if you'd have asked me when I first started to do a video to camera, like just me hold up my phone and just talk about a topic, probably wouldn't have done it. And I used to write loads when I first started because that's how I felt comfortable getting my point across.
Yep.
Because you can check it, recheck it, edit it.
Guess when I see it, like...
Yeah. I literally, every blog post I put out, for like the first 6 I put out, I got someone else to read it before it went anywhere. Then I started the podcast, which took a little bit of like nerve to do, but did it. Now I don't care about being put on video either. Like, it's almost gone like steps up for like the podcast to give me the confidence to do video. I remember when I did my first podcast, it was the trailer where I edited all the clips from other people together.
Yep.
And like, I just did an intro and like, I hated it. Like, I listened back to it the other day, I was like, it's so slick. It's too slick. Like, it's not my voice. It's not...
Yeah.
I mean, no one likes someone with their voice, but it's not my voice. It's my telephone voice almost. I've like prepared every single word and said it exactly how it should be said. It's just like, sounds like a robot.
Yeah. It's not, don't have that full, not genuine in the sense of full and genuine, but it's not, it's not you there, is it?
Yeah. And I think like I want to do a bit more like these kind of speaking things. Like I'm doing like the workshops, that kind of speaking gig. And then I want to start seeing if I can get myself onto like lineups, like even like bottom end, but like at conferences and stuff like that. And then that's when I think I'll learn like that difference between just being able to stand up and speak and actually being able to present properly, because I know that I'm weak in my presentation skills. I'm good, but I'm not like, it doesn't look as smooth as it could. Like I kind of like stand quite still. My arms do a lot of moving like they do now, but I stand very still. And it's like, if you're up on a stage, not necessarily like, I mean like an actual arena stage, but like when you stood at the front of a room, that is your stage. And like if you just stand still at a laptop pressing next, it's not the same as like walking across and working the room. So I need to work on that, but just want to get a bit of feel for this kind of like level of workshop, and then hopefully it'll lead to some more stuff.
What do you think you'd enjoy more then? So like the challenge that comes with presenting, such as you could get random questions thrown at you and it's not only answering the question but there's a big audience, or that kind of, if you're in a workshop, I'm guessing you get a little bit more one-on-one with people so you can really get into a specific topic or how it works with them or with you. Which one do you reckon you prefer?
At the moment, I definitely prefer the workshops because I can tailor it to what people want. So like if I've ever so slightly, like my content descriptions, like that they read online, I do most of my events through Eventbrite. So when they read it, they'll get a rough idea, but I can almost change how I'm pitching it based on what they're saying to me in the room. I was listening to a podcast the other day about like speaking and stuff like that, and they were saying like you need to nail your, like you'll have like one go-to presentation that people book you for when you get into the world of speaking. And you will change that one over time, like you can't keep doing the same one forever, but that one will just be so perfect and the content will be so good that the room will all get something from it no matter who they are. And I think I kind of need to do more workshops at this time to kind of define what it is that people are finding valuable, because I've got like 3-hour workshop, that's a lot of content. If I can find out which bit of that's the valuable bit, then that might be the bit that I make into a single presentation and I make that mass thing. So at the moment, definitely I would prefer to be doing workshops, but it doesn't scare me the fact that I could potentially stand on a stage in front of thousands of people like in the future. I wouldn't do it now because I don't have the content to do, but if someone gave me content to do, I'd do it. I think the thing as well, like why I'm trying to get into it from a business point of view, just like bring it back to like the reasons why I'm doing it, that I do enjoy it. But there was a guy I was listening to on a podcast, and he does big events, and he was saying if you took 100 people in a room, he said like 40% of the people in the room are like interested and reach out or like think about reaching out. So you've got like 40% of your room that's potential there. The other 60% either aren't interested or are just not bothered. So you got 40%, and he said of that 40%, he said if you can get like a quarter of them to actually make a proper kind of, they reach out to you or you get some kind of dialogue going with them, like you set up a follow-up meeting or something like that. And then he said of that 10%, you might get between 10 and 50% of them actually become a client or could have become a client. Something might happen that means it doesn't happen, but are that close. So you're thinking like from a room of 100, you can get 1 to 5 really good leads from that room of business. Like I'm not a capacity where I could take 5 new leads every time I spoke, but that ratio just makes business sense to go to stand for an hour and talk in front of people to generate 5 leads. Like the amount of work you would have to do in terms of personal branding, marketing, going to networking events to get 5 leads.
If you can do it all.
And they're already investing in you because they've seen you speak and they like what you're talking about. So they're already a warm lead when they come to you. So like, it's such a good value way of doing it, and that's why I'm trying to get better at it, so that when I do get them opportunities, I get the same ratios as he's getting.
No, that makes sense. Just touching back ever so slightly to something you was saying about developing it and where you have that one good presentation, really, and how you edit things over time and change it. With regards to what you've done, where you can make a podcast from nothing, basically, how much of that have you changed and edited so far since you basically wrote that and started presenting it?
So the first time I wrote it, I changed it quite a lot. But basically what I do when I'm doing stuff like that is I normally do it on pen and paper kind of thing, splurge all my ideas, then form it into some kind of thing, and then put that into a digital form in terms of a presentation. And then I work through the presentation and start like refining it and reworking it. But since then, it's not changed. The content's changed a little bit because like a lot of it is stats based, so like I've updated the stats.
Yeah. Okay.
I've changed some of my tips for people, but basically it revolves around 2 different worksheets. That session, the first worksheet is about, well, if you want to start a podcast, the chances are you've probably listened to a podcast.
Yeah.
So what are you listening to? What do you like about it? What's important to you? What would you change? That kind of thing. Like getting them to think not about their own idea, getting them to think about other podcasts.
Yeah.
Then the next worksheet is about developing their idea. And then it's like actually looking at, does that match what you've said?
Yeah.
Or maybe not, does that match what you said, but think about what you said earlier as you're developing it. And then the final part is to actually, I show them some basic tools to actually create the podcast for free. And the idea is that it's in a noisy room, there's 20 people in the room, ideally. But the idea is that they record their teaser episode or their intro episode or their first episode, depending what style it is, there and then in the room.
Yeah, I was just about to ask if you get a microphone.
Well, this is the whole thing. You don't need a microphone for it. You can just do it on your phone.
Yeah.
So if they bring their phone to the workshop and it's charged, they, by the end of it, should have a podcast episode. What's interesting is confidence, as we said earlier.
Yeah.
The people who don't make the episode at the end are the ones who don't have the confidence. But you are technically speaking in front of 20 people. Whereas if you did take my tips and go home, you could do it in your room on your own and then put it out, which does kind of have that disconnect and probably gives people a little bit more confidence.
Yeah. Well, that definitely makes sense.
It is a, if I do say so myself, like it's a good session. You just need to make sure that, well, you're only ever going to come on to it if you're interested in making a podcast. Yeah. If you're not interested in making a podcast, then you're welcome to it.
When did you say you're next doing it?
The next one will be in May at the Northern Podcast Festival on the Friday, which I think is the 15th of May. If not, it's the Friday around that time. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's 15th. I'll be delivering that at C4DI. It's currently capped at 20, but I'm happy if we get it up to that threshold to up it a little bit more, because we're in a bigger room. So we have got the space. It's just I don't want to go... The room holds 50 seated.
Okay, so...
But I don't want to do it 50 because then it's not a interactive workshop. No. It's just me talking to people.
Talking, yeah.
I want to get around the room and actually help people. So like 20 is a good number.
Yeah.
There's enough that you can be getting on with stuff while I'm going around the room, but I can still help everyone.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's in May as part of the Northern Podcast Festival, which should be good.
Yeah. What else is going on with that?
The Northern Podcast Festival?
Yeah.
So we've announced that it's happening.
Yep.
The 13th to the 16th of May. We've announced some shows, so each day's got like a different theme.
Okay.
So the first day, which will be the Wednesday, is like it's just one show really with like a pre-show. So the pre-show is one of the other founding people of the festival. He's got a show called The Podcast, which is about arts and culture within Hull and people within that scene. So he'll do an interview that's free to attend, and then after that there's a podcast called Hoovering, which is all about eating.
Right.
But it's this lady who she goes around and she tries local delicacies and interviews someone at the same time as trying like the food. So like we'll have her eating a patty and chips, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So again, it's very local to Hull.
Okay.
And about that. Then the Thursday we're having as a comedy night. So there's 4 different comedy podcasts happening at a place called the Brain Jar. Then Friday is business related. That's when I'm delivering my session. It's at C4DI. So all the stuff there is either going to be live recordings or workshops around podcasting for businesses.
Yep.
And then the Saturday is just like a mismatch of like anything and everything. We've not really announced too much for that day, but we've got like a science podcast, nerdy podcast, I think. And then it's just going to be a mix of like the chance to create your own podcasts, workshops, stuff for podcasters, but also a load of live recordings as well.
Right, okay.
We will be announcing more details on that. I think the date we've set is Friday 13th of March to announce more details.
Right.
But we're literally tomorrow having a meeting.
Okay.
A 2-hour meeting about the podcast festival.
Yeah.
So like, as of tomorrow, I will know more details about when we will be sharing
Okay.
more details.
More details, yeah.
So at the moment, it's very much like we've got a rough idea of what we're doing, but tomorrow it's like they're actually right. We need to nail this down.
Yeah.
So
Okay. So if I want to stay on top of following that,
at Northern Podfest on Facebook and Twitter, or visit northernpodcastfestival.co.uk. I'm so impressed with myself for remembering that.
That was impressive.
Like, that's like when you see like them people on TV when they bring the film out and they're like, "What day is it in cinema?" And they're like, I don't know. I was like, don't get this wrong.
Don't get it wrong. Do not get it wrong. No, I have been on the website actually. No, it's quite intriguing because I thought that it was already looking fairly fleshed out from what was on there. But if you're saying there's more stuff coming as well.
Yeah, we've got some good stuff already out there. Like the Friday, there's myself already there. Glenn Fisher, who's done one of the Creative Point events.
Yeah.
So ties round quite nicely. He does a copywriting podcast, which is crazy because I think he's like, as part of his podcast, his dog, he voices his dog.
Okay.
And he has other characters. He's done it as a live show before in London,
Yeah.
Which was a test and it worked. So he's now taking it like to other places. So we're really lucky to have him. And then another one called Pig Wrestling, which sounds really fun. But I think it's actually about mental health.
Okay.
It's run by a local company.
Yeah.
But yeah, that should be really good. That's got quite a good following locally. We've got some big business names on there from the local scene. So that should be good. But yeah, we've got hopefully some big announcements for the 13th of March that I think will spread across a whole range of audience. But yeah, it should be good. And we've got a big announcement about a business that's going to be involved. So yeah, stay tuned for all that.
Definitely, I'll have to start and look at that.
Yeah, it's one of these where it's quite far away, but and we know people like booking last minute, but we are just trying to like, the more feedback and interaction we get from people, the better. Like, we're still planning stuff now.
Mm-hmm.
So like, if you want to have a say in any way, now's the time because we're still planning.
Yeah.
But after the 13th of March, it'll pretty much all be nailed. There'll be one or two things that we're still sorting out, but it'll mainly be nailed. So like, actually after the 13th of March, what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
So now if there's something that you like and you're buying tickets for it, we might try and get some more similar stuff like that. Yeah. Or if there's something where you're like, we're not buying because we haven't seen anything of this, then tell us and we'll try.
Try and get something, yeah.
Yeah.
So with that, just overall, just to kind of finalise that off quite nicely, I take it the long-term goal is this isn't just going to be a one-off thing. You're hoping you get a good turnout, everyone enjoys it, and you can potentially do it again? Yeah,
so the aim of the first festival, we've said, is just everyone who is involved was happy to be involved.
Yeah.
It's not about making money for anyone, but we feel like there is a real gap in the area for a festival like this.
Yeah.
And why can't Hull be at the centre of that for the first year or two? But yeah, we'll obviously have to sit down afterwards and review whether or not everyone was happy to be involved.
Yeah.
And if everyone is happy to be involved again, because basically it's 4 of us volunteering our time at the moment.
Yeah.
To do this. So if we're as a 4 happy to carry on, then it should do. But if 1 or 2 of us aren't, then it might not happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the idea. We just wanted to test the water this year and see what it is. But we've had really good support from local businesses, local venues. And yeah, we've got the volunteers on board from Absolutely Cultured as well. So that the Bright Blue volunteers, so that'll be good. So we've got the support there. We just need to look at, in terms of time and effort, did it match what we expected?
Yeah. Okay.
Because if we do all this and we get 2 people in a room for every event, then as much as we loved it, we probably wouldn't do it again. But if we can see some good audience numbers, it'll come back. Yeah. And the thing is, at the moment, most of the events are free. There's a few paid tickets. That the event on the first night, the Hoovering Podcasting, that's £15 a ticket. But that's the most expensive thing.
Yeah.
I think we've worked out, I might be wrong on this, this might be me guesstimating, but like, if you had 50 quid, you could go to absolutely everything.
Just see all of it,
yeah. There's nothing you couldn't see.
Yeah.
So like, really, if you only want to go to 2 or 3 things, it's never really going to be that expensive.
It's not going to cost you much, no.
No. I think there's a couple of like pay what you can kind of bucket things at the end. But that's just simply because people are wanting to cover some costs and stuff like that, I assume. But yeah, a lot of this informational we'll hopefully
start
fresh
coming
on
out.
tomorrow.
Yep.
So,
That's all right then.
but yeah, so we've been going for 30 minutes. I think that's a decent episode.
Yeah, sounds like a good time to stop.
Yeah, so thanks for listening, everyone. I'm at the MJ Social on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you want to keep up to date with everything that I'm getting up to, and yeah, we'll be back in touch in a couple of weeks. Thanks for listening.
See you later, guys.